one game of basketball on a Saturday night. The Timberwolves shock the world and win by a lot. Good job by them, 143 to 101. We'll get into that. We'll get into the Knicks loss. We'll get into it all. My name is Shlomo Stark,
My name is Lady Jacob.
and this is the daily basketball recap in 15 minutes or less. Lady, the Timberwolves did what I hope the Knicks will do. They dominated from start to finish, something that I could say I did not expect. I imagine you did not expect. I think I've mentioned this a few times on this podcast. I thought if the Timberwolves would win a game, it would be a close game. I did not think the Timberwolves would be blowing anyone out. For the last 4 or 5 days, all anyone's talked about was the Thunder defense. How Bill Simmons talked about how it's like the best one thing in the NBA right now. People were comparing them to like the 2000 Ravens, like one of the greatest defensive teams you've ever seen. And Anthony Edwards said, "Here's the 143 points for you, greatest defensive team." They showed out, completely dominated offensively, solid defensively, but completely dominated offensively. And I was very impressed with Minnesota. Um, Gobert didn't even play so well. It was like a Randall, Edwards, especially Edwards. Edwards had the dog in him. Edwards was like, there was also a lot of like, oh, SGA is just better than Edwards. There's been a lot of that the last couple days.
Mhm.
It was awesome. It was awesome. Your thoughts on this game?
Um, the Wolves obviously came out really strong. They got out to like a 20-point lead pretty quickly in the first quarter. Um, the Thunder obviously didn't. They were like a little bit slow to react. Um, that being said, I mean, listen, the Timberwolves were playing very well. I think what happened was they realized that the Timberwolves were hot that night. They kind of packed it in for the second half, honestly. Like the Timberwolves brought out Terrence Shannon Jr., okay, who's one of their guys who played very few games this season. Looked great in all the times that he did play, but just started pouring it in. Like as soon as he got on the floor, they got good defensive plays. They got good steals. The Thunder uncharacteristically turned it over a lot to start. Um, and he just like Dagno just pulled the starters. Like to start the second quarter, it was I think they had one starter out there with a bunch of bench players. Again, their bench is really good, but the starters did
Felt
not.
like they, yeah, it felt like they gave up after one quarter.
Right, I think that
Scored
it felt like they
35 to
decided.
14.
I felt like they decided like okay, the Wolves are gonna like this was gonna be the Wolves game. Like just give our stars like the most rest that they possibly can. Maybe we'll try to see if they can spark something in the second half, and they just like kind of like wipe their hands clean of it and they're like, okay, we'll figure it out for next game.
I don't like that at all.
I'm not a big fan of that approach either. That being said, I wonder if the understanding was listen, like they played a given 7 game series and then went straight into this series, which is a very physical series as well. I wonder if the thought process is they really are tired, they need time. Like you saw them out there, they were a little bit more sluggish on defensive rotations even to start off this game. And again, like what were the shooting splits for for the Timberwolves as a team? They were like nuts.
Yeah. So yeah. Especially in the first half, they were really good. But even through the game, they shot 57% from the field and 50% from three.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen every game, you know. So I
Yeah.
think that they like again, I would prefer it not to be that way, but they seem to just say, okay, you know what, like you guys got this game, and that's it.
Mhm.
Um, I I predicted that the series would be 6 games because the Timberwolves are a talented team. You know, like they're tough, especially when Ant is playing like we know that he can. Which is exactly what was happening last night. He was shooting very well. He like he got out aggressive.
Yeah.
Um,
He wanted it. He damn and wanted it.
yeah, yeah, you could really tell. And Julius Randle was also like, it, it was really interesting because they were still very like you could see that the skill level was still different, but it was like the like meaning like the Timberwolves were just making like silly mistakes. They at some point uh Nikhil Alexander Walker like just handed it to Julius Randle back court. It was very like there's just like some like moments where you're like what, but they outplayed the Thunder in this game for sure. Um, so kudos to them. I it's an interesting series. I'm sure that the rest of the game are gonna be interesting,
Mhm.
except for the ones that aren't, you know. But I think the Thunder will be fine. I'm not worried about them in this series still.
I have a question for you. SGA is 26, Anthony Edwards is 23. If you could have one of them for the next 4 years, so meaning you could have SGA age 26 to 30 or Anthony Edwards age 23 to 27, who would you pick?
Um,
If you're the Thunder or Timberwolves, like let's say
no,
you
no, no. I'm gonna go with the guy who just won the MVP. Like, I think that Anthony Edwards is a great player, but the problem is, and this it's interesting because it actually brought me back to his draft stock issues, where people were like, I don't know if he's motivated. The first two games, Anthony Edwards really did like even in game two when he had 32 points,
Mhm.
Kevin just didn't seem to care, which is so bizarre. And SGA kind of doesn't ever have that issue. SGA is always like really aggressive in his approach. So I kind of I think I kind of would have to go with him because again, like even when Ant isn't there's certain times where Ant can't figure out how to score. SGA, if
Mhm.
he's still getting to the line, he's still like progressing you forward. It's just I don't know.
Right.
It's a good question. It's a very good question. It's closer than it should be, basically. But he's gonna be. I think in his prime, and especially if he has if he develops his focus a little bit more, he's gonna be excellent. He probably should be the face of the league at that point.
I like it. Okay. Let's talk quickly about the next game before we do predictions. Um, I'm out. I've given up. Uh, the only way I won't give up, like the only way the Knicks could win game three, game four. I the only way I think we're winning is I will predict if it's game seven, we will win that game at home. I don't think this series is going seven. I think it's going five, maybe six. Um, I was talking about this with my mom. I thought it was 25 and five. My mom corrected it's 24 and six. The last 30 games of the of the regular season, the Pacers were 24 and six. They then beat the Bucks in five, and then beat the almighty great one seed Cavs in five, and then have now won the first two games of the Pacers. And I think it's time, and I disrespected them before, and I think it's time to say, since like if you're taking the 30 game mark, like 30 games left of the season, which is a nice sample size, the Pacers have looked like the best team in the NBA. And
They're
you got to just acknowledge that. And I think they're better than this Knicks team. I think Jalen Brunson is the best player in the series, but it basically felt like watching this game. I rewatched it. Like I didn't rewatch it. I watched it the like every dribble after the Sabbath, Shabbos, whoever our listeners are, to watch every play. I didn't watch live Friday night, but it felt very similar to in game one, game two, where down the stretch it's close, and Brunson will go like 8 for 10, and the Pacers as a total team will go 9 for 9. Like they're deeper and they're better. And Brunson, to say he's not doing well in the clutch would be the biggest. That means you're not watching the series.
yeah.
Brunson is hitting. Brunson is coming through. He's hitting every shot. The problem is it's going to him every time. And the Pacers are just deeper and I think more talented than the Knicks. And honestly, I think it's taken me time to say this, but you finished the season your last 20 games 25 and 5, last 25 games 25, last 30 games 24 and 6, winning two series in five, especially against the one seed. Like it's time to just admit you may have been the best team in the East.
So
And now if the Knicks win, I think it'll be, I think of it more of an upset than, even though they're favored and they're the three seed. I'm out. I think it like good job, Knicks.
I think that some of the I don't disagree with you in the assessment. I think that the Pacers are like I've said it the whole entire season. I think the Pacers are a really gritty team. I think that they're an excellent team. Um, that being said, I think that some of the stats are a little bit inflated, right? I think they played against a lot of teams that had injury issues, but I will say that this just goes to prove like I really like Rick Carlisle's offenses. And that's exactly what you're seeing right now. It's just this run and gun, really, really fast paced. I was thinking about it more. Like they basically gave Rick Carlisle everything that he loves. They gave him a dynamic point guard who loves playmaking and shooting threes, and they gave him a big that can do it all. He doesn't have to just like he can shoot, he can pass, he can defend. Like and then around that, they got them a bunch of really premium 3 and D players who all, have variations of playmaking, whatever, shot making, and I think that they're a very high level team, like obviously very, very underrated. Tyrese Maxey specifically, Tyrese Halliburton in the last month and a half picked it up since the All-Star break. Like you can see it in the stats. The thing that I think is really important when I'm watching, like with the eye test, is that the Knicks, despite the Knicks playing so poorly together, these games are close, man. Like that last possession that really made it feel like the Knicks were like out of reach of the game was that the inbounds pass that they said that Brunson fouled. I don't even remember who it was going out of bounds. It was Neesmith.
Yeah.
I I don't think it was a foul. I don't think it was a foul.
I think even Brunson thought it was a foul.
I understand.
He argues every play. He didn't argue there.
I know, but I think it really just like kind of because I think that it broke him, and you saw it with the 3 point attempt on the next possession, because he was the only one who was carrying everything. Like really, like he brought them back like single handedly. I think that if he can do that, you really can get people to chip in. It's just it's so bizarre to me that like they're getting disheartened by the other team's scoring, but that's what a Pacers team does. You gotta just like still try. And that's what Brunson was doing. I do think that series is like I think that there's still a chance it's gonna go 7. Obviously, it's less likely. They say that the series doesn't start until game 3, but that's usually when you're not 0-2 at home. But I think that there still could like meaning the separation between this and game 1 is a game. In a 4-game series, I get it, but it's still a game. I think that there's still a fight left in the Knicks.
No, there's fight left. I just think the Pacers are better. The Knicks aren't giving up. I'm giving up. Like I'm out. I don't think it's impossible. I just, they're better than us, and it's okay. I feel the same way I would have felt if we were down to Boston 2-0, is what I'm saying. If we were down to Boston 2-0, I'd be like, oh, Boston's better than us. Like we're not gonna win. That's okay. They're a better team. Like we did our best. Maybe we'll get a game, maybe 2. That's how I feel now. I'm like, whatever we do, we do. The Pacers are better. Okay, predictions. My prediction is the Pacers win tonight.
I think it's the Knicks. I think it's actually really nice.
So you predicted the Knicks all 3 times.
I know.
Can't do it a third time. Can't do it. I can't do it. I did it also. I can't do it. I'm out. Then like I'm sad. I am. And we're gonna wave our we beat Boston in second round banner. I'm out.
I just feel like when you see it time and time again, right? Like even you saw with OKC tonight, right? When you win the 2 games, the momentum is on your side, and especially in the modern age of everyone saying, "Up, series is over, you're done, you're up 2-0, you're done. There's no way you're coming back." That's when like the team kind of like eases up. I really think that I think there's a chance. I think there's a chance. I think that the Knicks like really feel like they're down on their luck, and I think that Tibbs is like, guys, this is my job, please, like figure something out.
Yep. Let's hope so. Okay, that was the daily basketball recap in 15 minutes less. I want to thank you, AB, for co-hosting, for producing, and for being the last person on this podcast to believe in the New York Knickerbockers.
I'm not even a Knicks fan. I'm like, what's going on? What's going on?
I'm a Knicks fan. I want to thank you for listening. If you're a true Knicks fan, you know we don't believe.